I call myself, it's every Jewish mother's dream. I'm PhD in genetics. I have a management degree from MIT, and I'm a lawyer. So, I'm the guy that they sat there and said, so how come you're not dating him?
Seems like part of the reason they haven't been dating him is he's been busy with groundbreaking genetic inventions.
What we're going to do is unveil the beta version of MyGene Da Vinci. MyGene Da Vinci is the first genetic test that looks strictly at normal genes without disease. So we're going to be able to have people find out whether they have genes for dance, personality, making decisions, certain kinds of athletic genes, weight control, how food tastes, things that people are really interested in.
Dr. Abramson, not only a PhD lawyer and Sloan Business School graduate, he was also an auto mechanic. He's done a whole lot of things in his career. He says part of the deal is creating this technology to help folks figure out what they're good at. Rather than just focusing on bad news, he says, why not good news?
Well, the alternative is to look at genes for disease like cancer and Alzheimer's and things which represent what we're going to die from. And sooner or later, we're all going to die anyway. And most people know this. And it's much more interesting for people to learn what's doing today and what keeps them alive. The real issue for me is your genes can help you make a better journey. The end of the journey is a different story. I want to focus on giving you some pleasure right now. Example of one of the kind of pieces of equipment that's used. This is 96 wells. I've been personally interested in the issue of lifestyle and genetics, just for my own career, a long time. But it grew out of an accident where a guy asked me a question. He said, how can you make genes fun? And I said, no one's ever said that before because genes are very heavy duty. And I said, imagine you're sitting in a bar next to a beautiful woman, and you say to her, I've got a gene for dance, but I don't know how to dance. And we started to laugh. And the next day I had a class at Hopkins, and I went to the class and I said, guys, let me ask you a question. If we could look at genes for normal things so you could talk to people about your dating and social relationships, what would you think? And they said, wow, that is so cool. Do it. and that was the thing that turned the ship around, because at that point we said, we may be onto something. And then I spent the next 2 years really figuring out, is this what people really want? And I would go talk to people, and I would talk to people in Walmart and Home Depot, in stores, in airports, in restaurants, talk to waitresses, and say, here's something I'm doing. What would this be interesting to you? And they said, oh, this would be so cool. I would love it. And what amazed me was, they said, I'd love it for my kids. I'd like to know what my kid could be good at. I'd like to know what my kid would have to work at to be good at. And I said, wow, we can do that too. We can give you clues to help you understand the journey that you're going to make. It's the end of one piece, but it's the beginning of... If you spit into a cup, we can tell you if you have genes that good dancers also have. Whether you're going to be good at dance means you're going to have to do some work at it. It's never a question of just being gifted. Even gifted people have to work at it. Categories. There are genes involved with music and ability to have perfect pitch. How food tastes, a whole bunch of genes that influence your taste buds and how different foods taste to you. The Italians discovered 2 genes associated with 2 different kinds of love. You figure the Italians, you got to be that way, right? There are genes, hundreds of genes associated with weight control. And one of the things that's happening, one of my advisory board members sent me a study recently that he did showing that if you're on a low-fat diet, different genes are operating than if you're on a low-carbohydrate diet. Now, you say, oh, wow, but I know lots of people who have been dieting. I was in the weight loss business for years, and they all say, how come the diet works for them but doesn't work for me? How come everybody's got to do it differently? And the answer is, it's your genes, And that's what we're learning about where you are. There are a lot of people who are much smarter than I am. I don't pretend to be the genius on the walk. My secret, I think, is paying attention. It may sound weird. Opportunities arise all the time, and you have to see them as a chance to do something new. And if you say, what's the worst that can happen? I can screw it up. Typically, you don't. Typically, I mean, you make mistakes. I mean, it's not like it's a perfect world. But typically, you just do it. And suddenly you find that wow, how did this happen? If we're going to make genetics something that only the wealthy could afford, or people who have expendable capital can afford, once again, we're missing the boat.